NATO allies Turkey and the United States will hold joint military drills in Qatar with the Qatari armed forces. Qatar continues to suffer under a blockade by its neighbor, Saudi Arabia, after a dispute last month. Turkey has remained by Qatar's side and reinforced its military forces there earlier this month. Meanwhile, the United States continues to maintain an air base in Qatar, where over 11,000 U.S. personnel and coalition forces are stationed. Qatar's defense minister said Turkey and the United States will have no problem cooperating despite their recent split over the role of the Kurds in Syria. For more on this, we're joined tonight by John Sitilides, former foreign policy principal at Trilogy Advisors. Great to have you with us tonight, John.
Pleasure to be with you, Ed.
This is a hard one to figure out. The picture is somewhat distorted here. I mean, you're an ally in certain parts of the world, but maybe not an ally in other parts of the region. What do you make of this?
Welcome to the world of geopolitics, as we like to say. First, to the best of my knowledge, Ed, the Pentagon has not confirmed that these exercises are taking place, so I think the news is coming out of the Qatari Defense Ministry. But if it's true, and we'll condition it with the great if, we have a very strange three-way situation where we have President Trump, who in one of his Twitter storms recently sought to isolate, marginalize, and effectively diplomatically punish Qatar for its support for terrorist organizations. And then we have Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who's looking to broker a deal to bring together the Qataris and our other Sunni allies in the region in a containment policy against Iran and against Islamic State. And now we have potentially Defense Secretary Mattis coming to the aid of the Qataris in direct contravention of the president's policy, again, if this is accurate.
This is helter-skelter foreign policy, isn't it? I mean, this sends mixed messages all over the globe about, will the real United States please stand up? And I don't mean to be too critical on our country, but figure it out.
Well, we have an overriding interest in our relationship with Qatar, and that is this massive air base in which the Qataris have invested over $1 billion to give us the ability to project power throughout the Middle East. We're using this base to attack Islamic State. We're using it to protect Persian Gulf shipping lanes and the like. And so despite many of the disagreements that we have with Doha on a number of their activities, Ed, we need that base at least for the foreseeable future. So we cannot endanger that relationship in any reckless way.
Turkey buying S-400 missiles from Russia. How concerned do you think the Pentagon is about that?
Very much so. We're talking about one of the most lethal anti-aircraft systems in the world. It also, in a diplomatic way, or from our purposes, undiplomatic, takes Turkey out of the interoperability that's so critical for effective NATO cooperation on defense matters. And it sends the wrong signal from a critical ally and a very important part of the Eurasian landmass saying we're going to take an independent course regardless of what the United States and NATO feel are our larger shared interests.
Could this split on Kurdish fighters between Turkey and the United States evolve into something or spiral out of control and really create some geopolitical issues in the region?
It could very much potentially do so. This is what keeps President Erdogan awake at night. Whether or not there'll actually be an autonomous or potentially independent Kurdish state all along his southern border, it's the #1 security issue, and in some ways it may be more important in the U.S.-Turkey relationship in the short term if Erdogan sees a way to foil the U.S. from providing the Syrians that pathway to autonomy.
I want to talk about this House vote on sanctions on Russia and the response by the European Union. Do you think they expected that? And your thoughts on how Europe responded to this?
It shouldn't be a surprise. We have an exceptional diplomatic corps in all of these European capitals, and I believe that as the sanctions bill was moving forward, first in the Senate, a slightly different version in the House now, the communications were being made very effectively. And remember, this is against the backdrop of President Trump canceling the European trade agreement that had been put together by the previous administration. So I think we need to be very careful over here that we don't set back U.S.-European trade ties on a number of fronts while President Trump seeks to open up new pathways to a better relationship with Russia, if possible.
So this is aggravating the situation.
It's very, very complicated on many fronts, Ed.
Okay. John, great to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Thanks so much.